Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome to the show where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs. It's your host, Stephen Schmidt. And welcome back if you're joining us for a second, third, or 100th time. And if it's your first time, welcome. You're in for a treat today. I have a very special guest in the studio. We've got Brooke Robertson in the house today, and we're going to be talking about how she was literally able to double her profits just by using untraditional flipping methods. Brooke has been flipping houses for over 13 years now, and now primarily runs a interior design company and has several other projects she's really excited about that she's working on. But one unique thing that you'll find from our conversation is that Brooke has not done a single flip in over 7 years that was less than 6 figures in profit because of her untraditional flipping methods. So we're going to hop right into it. Just remember, before we do, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted, to allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. Brooke, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I'm super happy we finally made it happen. For those that have no context, it took us about 3 weeks to figure this out. And then even on our show date today, it took us 30 minutes of technical difficulties just to get you in the studio. So it's a special time that I think we're going to have here. For our listeners' sake, before we really get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, could you just share a little bit more about yourself and how you got here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started out in corporate America when I graduated college and did the rat race for a while. In '09, I got laid off during the crash and started kind of reevaluating my career choices and life, and went and had some fun in Costa Rica for a while, and then moved back to Richmond. And the first house that I bought after I moved back from Costa Rica was straight out of foreclosure, and I accidentally flipped that house. I never had any intent or even interest in design prior to that. I just happened to buy a house and it needed to be fixed up and needed some upgrades. And so my spouse and I jumped into it and started working on that house, and eventually ended up selling it for a large profit. And at that point, I wasn't really sure what to do with the money. And I was talking to a good friend of mine who was a real estate investor, and she encouraged me to join forces with her on my first flip. And so we partnered up and we bought a house for $40,000 in a neighborhood that at the time was very transitional, not quite yet transitioning, I would say. But it was very close to downtown, and we saw the potential. It was in such bad shape that there was actually a tree growing through the middle of the living room. And that's how I got into real estate investing. And she and I partnered together on that one. We had a great time. We're still very good friends, but I kind of got bit by the bug and kept going, and haven't really stopped flipping since. I keep saying I'm not going to do it anymore, and then I find the perfect opportunity and jump on it, and next thing you know, I'm
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
I'm flipping one more, but it's always just one more.
Yeah, it's never ending, right? So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your background because you say that you had no intention of doing it, no even interest per se, if dare we say that, in design or flipping houses or anything like that. What was your corporate background in that you started out of college?
I was actually all over the place and I didn't realize it at that time, but I think I was building my exposure and my skill set to become an entrepreneur and to launch my own business. I never would have said that back in the day, but I started out working as an administrative assistant and HR assistant at a factory in Colonial Heights, Virginia. And then I went from there to my job as a paralegal at a law firm downtown. And then I left there, went into corporate sales, and have just like hopped from career to career over the years until I landed in design and real estate investing. And that's what really, I've never stayed in the same career path for more than 4 or 5 years, typically just because I get bored and I, see another opportunity over there that sounds interesting. So I jump to it. But I think real estate investing and design and all of the puzzles and just problem solving that it involves, you never really get bored.
Yeah, for sure. Everything you're saying reminds me of this joke. It's do you know what an ADD person has for breakfast?
What?
I don't know. You want to go color with crowns?
That's
You
great.
know what I mean? I love it.
Yeah.
So, but it really is, it's so incredible because none of that relates really, other than maybe the processes and like back end systems of building a business. None of that relates to creativity and design.
Yeah,
So
not at all.
what was that experience that really stuck with you when you decided I'm all in on this?
I think really I finally found I don't even know how to pronounce this word, but it has been a driving motivator for me ever since I left corporate America. And there's a Japanese word called ikigai, or ikigai, and it's the
Ikigai, yeah.
combination of your purpose and what you love and finding that perfect target that kind of incorporates all of the different elements that you're good at, you thrive in, your personality type, it matches, what drives you. And so I've really found that problem solving, recognizing patterns, there's a lot of different elements that have to do with real estate investing and empaths. I consider myself a strong empath. And so being aware of the things going on around you, understanding what people want and what they're looking for, like as the city that I've been primarily focused in is Richmond, Virginia. We were a very small city when I first started real estate investing. And as time goes on, our city's growing and growing, and the population's getting denser, the traffic's getting worse. Being aware of what's happening in the city and being able to identify the pockets that I believe are going to pop next, and then also to be able to understand what type of consumer is going to be purchasing in that neighborhood and building the house not only around that consumer and what they want, but also around the experience as they walk through the house. So, some of the things that I really do focus on and think about when I'm designing is as you walk into the property, what's the first thing you're going to see?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
As you walk down the hallway and you look into the bathroom, what kind of wow moment can I give you? Whether it be beautiful tile or a beautiful vanity setup, but maybe you have a plastic tub surround in the tub. It's thinking through the experience and walking the house as if you're the buyer, envisioning the things that you can do to make them fall in love with the house and to give them those wow moments every time they turn a corner or look in a room.
What a great answer. For anybody that wants a visual on what Brooke said there too, as far as the Ikigai, it's Ikigai, and if you go look it up, it's almost like it's like a Venn diagram on steroids when you find a good visual for it, because like you said, it blends your passion, your purpose, what you're good at, what you can get paid for, and what the market needs, all in one thing. So it's almost like finding that that North Star, if you can find it. And so many people are still looking for it. So let me ask you this about some design specifics. What are some of the tricks for like finding affordable designs without going overboard on a flip?
So, one thing that I think is really interesting about the way that I approach flips is I'm not professionally trained in interior design. I'm not professionally trained in real estate investing. So, I've kind of been self taught and trying to figure out how to get things done in an affordable way. And so, if you can step out of how other people are doing it and thinking about how can I do this, but more affordably, you can really save a ton of money. One example is this one time we were flipping a house, and we couldn't figure out what to do with this long, narrow office. It was very narrow, it was very long, it felt odd shaped, but it really needed to be the office for this space. And so we wanted to do built-ins. We couldn't do it affordably. And so what we ended up doing was I found two matching bookcases on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, I think it was at the time. I think I paid $28 for the two bookcases. And then my carpenter screwed them to the wall. We custom painted them, added some baseboard and crown to them, and made it feel like a custom built-in. And it cost us $27 and a few hours of his time to accomplish this really nice built-in high-end look. So that's one of my favorite tricks. Another one that I'll do sometimes is a lot of people will invest, if they're doing a higher end home, they'll invest in a glass surround for the shower. And depending on the space you're working with, a lot of times you have to go custom in order to maximize the space in the shower. And I actually figured out a way to bypass the custom while still maximizing the size of the shower. Because what you can do is, instead of just getting a surround built to it, you can build your shower to fit the surround. And what I mean by that, for example, I had a shower, I think we wanted it to be about 39 inches on the inside the rectangle. We wanted a 39-inch spread, and you can't do that with a typical glass shower. So what we had to do was we built a curb on the wall in order to make the L-shaped shower the size and shape that we wanted it to be without having to go custom. So what we were quoted $3,800 for an L-shaped glass surround for the shower, and we ended up being able to find one on Wayfair for $700. And then we just built out the curb on the wall in order to extend the glass surround down to reach the measurements that we wanted it to reach.
Wow. So it's finding creative ways to not have to pay full price through more traditional methods.
Exactly. Exactly. And then another trick that we really use is mixing a lot of highs and lows. So I really think it's important to incorporate some.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Quality pieces, no matter what the bathroom is or what the kitchen is, you need to, even if you're trying to save a ton of money and keep it really affordable, there are ways to incorporate higher end pieces, whether it be using used light fixtures or, a nicer faucet for the sink or for the shower head, but then you can kind of buy more budget friendly pieces for the other areas. One place that I love to save money is like mirrors. You can get the best mirrors from Target, Kirkland's, Walmart even. You can't tell that they're low end. You pair them with a really nice vanity or a nice faucet, and you can't really tell as long as you're mixing and matching the different pieces and not having them all be super low cost.
Yeah, that makes sense. So now let me ask you this. Why do you think that your flips when you started, where you're averaging pretty decent profit, but not really focusing a lot on the unique characters and things along those lines of the houses that you took on? Why is it that once you started doing that, your profits doubled to where you're bringing in just crazy amounts of profit compared to the average flipper?
So that's actually really a question that I've been wondering myself over the years and really tried to analyze, like why when I got this one house and changed my approach, did my profitability increase so much? And I truly believe that if you're creating something unique, people will fight for it. So if you have, for example, I just did a flip this past fall in Northside in Richmond, Virginia. And the house was nice. It was fine, but it didn't have the wow factors. And it was a little bit of a strange layout. And so one thing that we did in order to really make it a standout was we barreled the ceiling in the walk-in pantry that was visible. As soon as you rounded the corner, you could see this walk-in pantry all the way from the front door area, and you could look all the way through. And it wasn't an expensive ad to do, but it just gave it so much personality and character that when the people came to see it and they were interested in this house, they were willing to fight for it, because if they loved it, they can't find it right down the street. They can't find a similar product, a similar aesthetic in the same neighborhood. And so making the house stand out, making it special, making it feel really turnkey for people who do have a design eye or do have that kind of elevated aesthetic, instead of them going in there thinking, well, I'm going to have to add wallpaper in here, and there's gray or cream walls everywhere, so I'm going to have to paint some interesting colors to get it to my aesthetic and stuff. If you can provide that as the investor, you only need one person to love your house and to fall in love with it. Now, if you can create the bidding wars, you can also create your own terms, so you can save a ton of money. So if you do find those three people that love the house, one person gets it, but you make the three fight over it, as the investor, when you're selling it, you can say you need to guarantee your appraisal, or you need to waive the inspection repairs. I mean, inspections, a lot of our inspections, we do try and honor the house and do the best job possible, but sometimes you just can't do everything and make the house perfect, especially with these historic homes. And so it's really important for me at least, to be able to make the buyers waive the inspection and, understand that it's a historic home, because you can find anything wrong with a historic home. I mean, there's just too many things. And in Richmond, I mostly work on historic homes because they're of interest to me. And so I think just being able to have the peace of mind of they've guaranteed the appraisal, they waived the inspection, they really want the house, even if something goes wrong, they love the house enough that they're going to fight for it. I really think that that helps you become more profitable, is to have a unique product that people are willing to go the extra mile for.
Sure. And, Richmond has a very distinct blend of history and modern style. So, how would you say the local character influences your design choices?
That's a good question. I always try to honor the house and the style of the house, but I do like to add modern elements. So there's a lot of different personalities, a lot of different houses in Richmond. One of my favorite approaches is to go into a previously flipped house and fix it and put the character back and put the original wooden doors back instead of the hollow core. And, sometimes the personality and the soul of the house comes from the dented trim around the doorways, or, the gouges in the wood floors. And there's so much history. It's something to be celebrated and honored, instead of just, uh, you know, encasing everything in LVP.
Right. Tell me a little more about that. You kind of laughed when I asked that question, almost like there was like a specific story that might have come to mind. Tell me more about like a really interesting deal you did there.
Well, the one that made me change my approach to flipping was this hoarder house that I bought in 2018, and it was such a strange house. The previous owners, it had been a one family home. They had built it, and as they had more kids, they kind of added on, and they did some weird additions that most people wouldn't do. But the house was so strange that I couldn't continue with the vanilla approach that I'd been taught when I first started flipping, and asked people like how to do it. And they said, stay white, stay neutral, universally appealing. Like, this house was bizarre and strange. And I just couldn't, I knew that it wouldn't sell if I went back in with boring or vanilla finishes and fixtures. So I really had to add a ton of personality, and it had this really cool mid-century modern vibe to it, in the sense that it was a brick ranch house, but they had turned it into a split level off the back. So what I imagine was probably the original door into the backyard. It was wider, about 6 feet wide. So I imagine it was like a sliding door in the 60s or something into the backyard, and they added a split level right there with a skylight above it. And that informed the entire design for that whole house and sent my entire career in a different direction.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Why did it send it in a completely different direction, do you think?
Because I realized that I actually love design, and that
Mm.
I got excited about different elements. On that house, we took a live edge slab, and we created a waterfall edge off of the peninsula, so that when you walk through the front door, you saw this live edge slab coming right off the side of the cabinet. And we just started playing with light, and the different ways that we introduce light into the different spaces. And I started getting a little more creative. And so I think if I hadn't had that one house that made me change my tune, I probably would have continued with my career the same way I have everything else, do it for 4 or 5 years, get a little bit bored, and move on to the next shiny object or the next interesting problem to solve. But I think because I was able to, like I said, find my ikigai of like problem solving, design, the interest of real estate investing, I think that helped me stick with this career a lot longer than I would have had I stayed with the white subway tiles and vanilla walls.
Sure. Do you brand I feel like I know the answer to this already. Uh Do you brand your flips with like a pretty consistent style that's Brooke Robertson, like when you see it, or do you shift your designs kind of depending on the price point and neighborhood to where almost everything you do is like avant-garde?
I definitely shift my designs depending on the neighborhood, depending on the climate, like the real estate climate and where I think that's going. I try to embrace the personality of the house and run with it as much as possible. So if I'm doing a historic four square, I'm probably not going to go as mid-century modern. I'm probably going to lean more into transitional style. If I'm doing a ranch house, I'm going to go really high design and try and add some elements that you only see in magazines. And that's because a ranch house can just be so bland with the one level and the three bedrooms. So I especially elevate ranch house designs when I'm doing like the outside is basic. I'll add some wallpaper or some funky light fixtures and stuff like that. So I kind of bounce around, but I think I have a very unique style because I'm not professionally trained. I just kind of grab elements that I love, and I love to mix historic with modern and clean with like maybe a little bit more rustic. I love that dichotomy of the different styles running together. And I also think that that really helps attract the right buyer who might have a little bit more expendable income. So sometimes it's really fun to take a super historic house and renovate it with a nod to the historic and the nod to the traditional. But then when I go to stage it, I'll stage it with really cool, funky, modern items, or just giving people that vision of what it could be. And I can't tell you how many times people say, can we also buy all the furniture that it's staged with? And
That's
I'm like, no,
awesome.
no, no, that's out of my own living room.
Right. No kidding. Oh my goodness, I love that. Well, I've got this new segment. I wish I had one of those Roadcaster podcast deals where I could like play some sort of like game show music. But I've got this new segment I've started doing literally yesterday called the speed round. And
Okay.
so if you're down to play it, what it is I'm going to fire off 4 or 5 just rapid fire questions because we're coming up to the end of the show. And so it's
Okay.
just designed for like quick decision, like one word answer, like very, very short. You want to play?
Okay.
Awesome.
Sure.
Okay. And it's all going to be related to something in design. The last question I ask is going to be something that's more of a thinker for you, so you can take longer to ask it. Okay,
Okay.
or answer it. So okay, all right. Drum roll. All right. So we're starting the speed round. Most overrated design trend right now.
Gray LVP.
Most underrated paint color.
Ooh. Chantilly lace Benjamin Moore. It works everywhere.
Chantilly lace Benjamin Moore. All right, fantastic. Best room to splurge on a flip.
Kitchen.
Kitchen. If you could redesign one famous home, what would it be?
Ooh. The White House.
I knew you were gonna say that too. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, if shoot, I lost it. What's one? What's the greatest lesson that you've learned off of one of your biggest mistakes or someone else's biggest mistakes?
Contracts before pay.
That's a good
Always get a
one.
signed contract. Yep.
That's really
Always.
good.
No matter what. I don't care. Just do it.
All right. And then last question, this is more of a thinker. So what's next for you now? Is it more
Ooh.
flips, design firm, something else? I know you've got a
So
lot going on.
speaking of my guy, I am taking what I love, and that's designing flip houses, and I'm taking it and releasing all of my designs to real estate investors online. So I've got over 60 bathrooms designed, several kitchens, and all of this is out on a portal. It's designs-delivered.com is our website, but we'll be sharing our designs where people can shop them, or they can pay us to place the orders, order an entire bathroom or kitchen at once and ship it, all the pieces to their job site to be installed right then and there. So I'm taking my love of designing real estate investing properties on a budget. I'm taking it and putting it online where I get to also travel and do the fun things that I've been wanting to do, and combining the things that I love with ways that I can help other people achieve higher ROI, and then also me being able to have the lifestyle that I've always dreamed of having and haven't yet gotten to have with corporate America and flipping houses in person.
Brooke, thanks for joining us today. If anyone wants to learn more about you or what you're working on, where should they go for that?
Instagram, I have an account called That Flip Chick, and that is more about my house flipping journey, and that's That Flip Chick. I talk about some design, some house flipping, and then if they want to learn a little bit more about the actual design service for real estate investors, they can go to our website, designs-delivered.com.
There you go. Well, go drop her a follow, y'all. Show her some love from the Investor Fuel community, and if you reach out to her, let her know you heard of her here on the show. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again, Brooke.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.